today's Bhakti Sangha conference call. So let us move on to the next part of the session. May I know who are joining the call today?
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from College Station, Texas. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, and all the glories to the assembled devotees. This is Manjri Leela Devidasi from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Manjari Leela Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा भगवती वसुधा माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय प्रीति दासी फ्रॉम शार्लोट हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna Preeti Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, is there anyone who would like to
Hare Krishna
introduce?
Mataji, Dhammat Pranam to you and all the devotees. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to assembled devotee. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. This is Sundarangi Radha Devi Dasi from Canada.
Hare Krishna Sundarangi Radha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I welcome all of you once again. Thank you everyone for joining today's Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are really fortunate to have His Grace Gaur Vilas Prabhuji to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Today's verse is 7.15.23. Before I hand over the call to Prabhuji, I would like to hand over the call to Sundarangi Radha Mataji for the brief introduction on Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, over to you Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So here is a brief introduction about today's speaker. We are so fortunate to have His Grace Gaur Vilas Prabhuji on our call today. Prabhuji came to Krishna consciousness in 2004. He earned a MBBS degree from Grant Medical College. Gaur Vilas Prabhuji joined the ashram in 2010 and he was initiated as a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj in 2012. Prabhuji preaches in various medical and engineering colleges. He also conducts programs for doctors at Bhaktivedanta Hospital and in corporate environments. He is a teacher of Bhakti Sastri and Bhakti Vaibhava courses. He also conducts congregational programs in Mumbai and Maharashtra. Gaur Vilas Prabhuji has done thorough studies of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thank you so much, Mataji. Here is a brief introduction about our speaker today. Thank you. I will now hand over the call to you, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you Mataji for this wonderful brief introduction on Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much Prabhuji for giving your time and valuable association in this Bhakti Sangha conference call. We are really fortunate to hear from you on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Over to you Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you Mataji, thank you all the devotees for this opportunity to serve. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजाताम् सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, today we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 15, Instructions for Civilized Human Beings, text number 23. Anvikshikya shokamoho dambham mahad upasaya yogantarayan maunena himsam kamadyanihaya. Translation. By discussing spiritual knowledge, one can conquer lamentation and illusion. By serving a great devotee, one can become prideless. By keeping silent, one can avoid obstacles on the path of mystic yoga. And simply by stopping sense gratification, one can conquer envy. Purport. If one's son has died, one will certainly be affected by lamentation and illusion and cry for the dead son. But one may overcome lamentation and illusion by considering the verses of Bhagavad Gita. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha. As the soul transmigrates, one who has taken birth, one who has taken birth must give up the present body, and then he must certainly accept another body. There should be no cause for lamentation. Therefore, Lord Krishna says, Dhiras tatrana muhyati, one who is a dhira or sober, who is learned in philosophy and established in knowledge, cannot be unhappy over the transmigration of the soul. Hare Krishna. So this is a wonderful section going on in Srimad Bhagavatam where Narad Muni is explaining the process of conquering anarthas, how to conquer various anarthas we have. In the previous verses, he has described how to conquer lust, anger, greed, fear, and in this verse, he is describing how to conquer illusion and lamentation. Sankalpa jayet kamat krodham kama vivarjanat anarthat arthanarthik shayalobham bhayam tattvavimarshanat. Asankalpat, by being determined not to have indulgence in sex life, one can overcome lust. So this is very wonderful instruction. Being determined. Krodham, how one can overcome anger? By giving up the objective of the sense desire. Krodham kama vivarjanat. Anartha, artha, how to overcome greed? By considering the problems of wealth. Bhagavatam describes so many problems are there in the wealth. In the process of acquiring, अर्थस्य साधने सिद्धे उत्कर्षे रक्षणे व्यये नाश उपभोग आयास त्रासस चिंता भमोनिराम. So many problems. Anything you do with your wealth. Intense labor, pain, anxiety, illusion. One can overcome fear by considering that suffering is due to karma. And now in this verse, very beautifully, Narad Muni is describing how one can overcome lamentation and illusion. First canto Bhagavatam describes how one can overcome lamentation, illusion, and fear. The first canto, 7th verse, Suta Goswami is describing, Narad Muni is explaining, Yasyam Vaishruyamānāyām Krishne Param Purushe Bhaktir Utpadyate Pumsam Shok Moha Bhayapaha. This is Suta Goswami speaking about Vyasdev. And how by hearing about the glories of Krishna, Yasyam Vaishruyamānāyām, the more we hear about Krishna, who is the Supreme Purusha, Krishna Param Purushe, the devotion will arise in the heart, Bhaktir Utpadyate, and three things will go away from the heart: Shoka, Moha, Bhaya, lamentation, illusion, and hankering, and fear. Shoka means lamentation, Moha means illusion, and Bhaya means fear. In this world, because a living entity identifies with the body, that's why one develops these feelings of illusion and lamentation and fear. Shukadeva Goswami describes in the second canto, Parikshit Maharaj had asked a question. How can there be a relation between soul and the body? The soul is spiritual, body is material. How can there be a relationship between the body and the soul, matter and spirit? So Shukadeva Goswami says there is no relation between matter and spirit. Atma Maya Rite Rajan Parasyanubhavatmanah Na Ghatetartha Sambandha Swapna Drashtur Evanjasa. There he says, actually, it is only because of the illusion, because of misidentification. This is me and this is mine. Atma Maya Rite Rajan, because of the influence of the material energy, Maya Shakti, a living entity starts identifying with the body. This is my body. Actually, it is not his body. It is like a person who is dreaming something. All of us must have cried sometimes in dream or became fearful in dream sometimes. In our temple, we sleep in temple hall. Some devotees, some brahmacharis in the night. And we have seen it sometimes. Some devotee in the middle of the night starts shouting, throwing his leg. Why? Seeing a dream. He's being chased by a tiger. Sweating also. Actually, there is no tiger. So if somebody thinks, well, I want to help him, how should I help? I'll also sleep and I'll enter his dream and then I will help him. No, how is it possible? What we have to do? Just wake him up. But the problem is, this dream is so intense. It is so very absorbing that material energy doesn't allow us to get up. Jiva jago, Gaura Chandra bole, Koto nidra jao maya, Pishashira kole. That's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is calling loudly, oh, wake up, sleeping souls, wake up. How long you sleep on the lap of Maya? Jiva jago. A person who is absorbed in material consciousness, anything happens with the body and the things related to the body, lamentation, fear. These three emotions, they are very, very powerful emotions in the world. Hankering for what we have, what we don't have, illusion of whatever we have, oh, this is mine, and fear of losing what we have. Everything in this world is driven by these three emotions: Shoka, Moha, and Bhaya. Bhagavatam describes there are two types of consciousness. One is material consciousness, other is spiritual consciousness. Chit and Chitta. Chitta means consciousness which is rooted in this material world. When one starts identifying himself as the doer, as the controller, as the proprietor, that is Chitta. And Chit, Sat Chit. Chit means original consciousness, that I am part of the Supreme Lord. That is pure consciousness, Chit. But because we start identifying that, oh, I am not part of the Lord, I am part of the spirit, this world, and things related to this world are mine. Things related to this body are mine. In Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, Krishna speaks a very, very interesting verse. Ichha dvesha sukham dukkham sanghatas chetana dhriti etat kshetra samasena savikaram udharitam. Sixth verse, I think. Krishna says, Ichha, desire, dvesh, hatred, sukham, happiness, dukkham, distress. They are all transformations of the kshetra. They are transformations of the body. But if we analyze who experiences these emotions, our body experiences or we experience? We experience these emotions. We become happy, we become sad, we become envious, or we desire something. Then why Krishna is saying these are the kshetra samasena, savikaram, these are the transformations of the body? How is it that? Because the soul suffers because the soul starts identifying with the body. Although everything is happening in relation with the body only. I didn't get this. Oh, this is not coming. I wanted to enjoy this. All the interactions are happening in the body. But the soul thinks this is my body. Simple example. When a person goes to a movie theater and sits, so many things are happening in the movie theater. On the screen, the person sitting and seeing the movie, he is Kshetragya. Kshetragya means one who is the knower of the field. And the movie screen is the Kshetra, where the interactions are happening, where the changes are happening. When the hero is enjoying with the heroine, or the person who is seeing is also happy. When a hero is beaten by the villain, person is also sad. Why? All the transformations are happening on the movie screen. Nothing is happening in the person, but still the person who is seeing the movie suffers. Sometimes happy, sometimes sad. Why? He starts identifying with that person, although he has nothing to do with person. Just 2 hours of movie and everything will be over. So the scriptures, they tell us, as this verse says, by spiritual knowledge, one can conquer lamentation and illusion. Nitya Krishna haite nitya bahirmukh nitya samsara bhunje narakadi dukh. Kaviraj Goswami says, a living entity in this world is nitya baddha. Since time immemorial, we are bound in this material world. Turned our face away from Krishna. Krishna hoite nitya bahirmukh. And then nitya samsara bhunje narakadi dukh. That's why we are suffering. Sometimes going to a higher planet, sometimes going to lower planets. Kama krodhera, sei doshe maya pishachi danda kore tare, adhyatmikadi tapatraye tare jari mare. Because of this fault of lording it over, I want to enjoy. Sei doshe maya pishachi, Maya Devi, what she does, danda kare, she punishes. How she punishes? Adi bhautik, adi atmik, adi daivik tap. Adhyatmik adi tapatraya tare jari mare. She beats, she punishes that person, punishes living entity. Kama krodhera dasahaya taralati khai. Bhramite bhramite yadi sadhu vaidya paye. And becoming servant of Kam and Krodha, he is beaten by Mayadevi. Taralati khai. She beats living entities. But somehow, by some good fortune, Bhramite bhramite yadi sadhu vaidya paye. Here devotee is compared to a physician. Sadhu vaidya. A devotee can treat the disease of the material conditioned soul, the disease of bhavaroga. How the devotee treats, what type of medicine he gives. Enechi aushadhi maya nashibano lagi harinama mahamantra lautumi magi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought this medicine of the holy names, medicine of Krishna Katha. Nivritta tarishaya rupagiyamana bhavaushadha shrotra manobhirama gauttama shloka gunanuvada puman virajyeta vina pashubhnat. Persons who have given up the desire for sense gratification, nivritta tarshayir, they are absorbed in singing the glories of Krishna, which is Bhava Aushadhi. This Bhava Aushadhi is given by the devotee. How this Bhava Aushadhi works, this verse describes. Bhramite Bhramite Yadi Sadhu Vaidya Paye. Now that Vaidya, Sadhu Vaidya, what he gives? Tara Upadesha Mantre Pishachi Palaye Krishna Bhakti Paye Tabe Krishna Nikate Aaye. In the previous times, people, they had the knowledge of removing the poison of a serpent just by chanting some mantras. Still, it is there in some parts of India. People have this knowledge. They chant some mantras and they can remove the poison. This devotee, he also chants this mantra. Tar, which mantra? Upadesh mantra. Taro Upadesh mantre pishachi palay. By the power of the Upadesh, the instructions, this witch of material illusion will go away. Krishna Bhakti Paye, Tabe Krishna Nikate Aaye. And he gets devotion to Krishna, comes close to Krishna. That Upadesh is given by a devotee. One time, one devotee went to Srila Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, please give me your mercy so that I can follow your instructions. Prabhupada said, my mercy is that I have given you instructions. Now you have to follow it. If somebody has fallen in a well, he can't tell, let my fingers curl around the rope. Is the audio clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So we cannot demand that, no, we cannot say, let my fingers curl around the rope automatically. We have to catch hold of that rope. The instruction is given by Krishna, by the devotees of Krishna. We have to catch hold of these instructions. These instructions will save us. Otherwise, this illusion is so very thick. It is so very difficult to come out of this lamentation and illusion. But the spiritual knowledge, knowledge of the soul, knowledge of Krishna, there are three types of knowledge in scriptures. Atma Gyan, Ishwar Gyan, and Kevala Gyan. Atma Gyan means knowledge of the soul. Ishwar Gyan means knowledge about God. And Kevala Gyan means knowledge of the impersonal Brahman. As a devotee practicing Krishna consciousness, we are not interested in Kevala Gyan, the knowledge of impersonal Brahman. Now, among these two knowledges, knowledge of Ishvara and knowledge of soul, a question to all of you. Which type of Gyan we should start acquiring? We should begin with Atma Gyan or we should begin with Ishvara Gyan? Any thoughts? Atma Gyan means knowledge of the soul, and Ishvara Gyan means knowledge of the Supreme Lord. Where to begin? How do we begin the path of our devotional service?
Atma Gyan?
Any okay. Okay, some devotees are saying Atma Gyan. Anyone else would like to tell how do we begin? And what is the right path? What is the right understanding? Krishna gives the answer of this question in Bhagavad. Okay, some devotees are saying Atma Gyan or Ishwar Gyan. In the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks a question. Krishna, you have described two types of knowledge. 12.1, it is Maya Veshya. एवं सतत युक्ता ये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चापि अक्षरम अव्यक्तम तेषां के योग वित्तमाः. He says, Krishna, which of these two paths are more perfect? Those who are attached to impersonal jnana or those who are attached to the personal jnana? That is a translation Srila Prabhupada writes. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes some little different translation. He says, Arjuna is asking, which type of knowledge is better to start with? Knowledge of the Atma, because in the first 6 chapters, Krishna gives the knowledge of the soul. And then in the second 6 chapters, from 7 to 11, and 12th is a conclusion, he gives the knowledge of Bhagavan, knowledge of devotion. He says, which is better? You have told me both. Atma Gyan also, Ishwar Gyan also. Which is more perfect? You know what Krishna replies? Krishna answers, Mayyaveshya manoye maam nitya yukta upasate shraddhaya parayopetas te me yukta tamamata. Knowledge of the personal Lord is more important, more perfect than the knowledge of the soul. In our devotional and spiritual life, we have heard about the Atma Gyan, but we don't focus so much on the Atma Gyan. What are we focusing on? We are focusing on Ishwar Gyan more. We are hearing about the pastimes of Krishna more. We are not hearing about the knowledge of the soul so much. Because the knowledge of the Ishwar automatically gives the knowledge of Jnana, Atma Jnana, realizes the knowledge of Atma. So that's how the more we absorb our mind in hearing the pastimes of Krishna, automatically in due course of time, we will realize this Atma Gyan. Otherwise, it is a very long path. Jnana Marg is a long path. Jnana Marg means understanding and realizing I am not this body, I am soul. That is a long path. The path of devotion is the path of serving Krishna. And naturally, one becomes self-realized by serving Krishna. This Atma Gyan and Ishwar Gyan, we are focusing on Ishwar Gyan more. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. Krishna is telling again and again, remember me, O Arjuna. He tells about the knowledge of the soul in only one chapter. And throughout the remaining chapters, many times, almost in every chapter, he is focusing on how to serve him. In the second chapter, 61st verse, he says, Mat paraha, give to me. Then in third chapter, 30th verse, he says, Mai sarvani karmani sannasya dhatma chetasa nirashir nirmomo bhutva yudhyasva vikatajvaraha. Mai sarvani karmani, offer all your activities unto me. So practically, In every chapter, Krishna is focusing on Ishvara Gyan. The spiritual knowledge which Narad Muni is describing here can destroy lamentation and illusion. We as practitioners of sadhana bhakti, we are focusing on Ishvara Gyan. कालेन स्नान शौचाभ्याम संस्कारैः तपसेज्जया शुद्ध्यन्तानै संतुष्ट्या द्रव्याणि आत्मात्म विद्यया. 10th canto of Bhagavatam describes how different things in this world get purified. In due course of time, by the influence of time, the immovable things are purified. The mountains and the trees, nobody goes to clean them. By the time they get purified, kalena. Snana, by taking bath, the body is purified. Samskarai, by observing the purificatory ceremonies, the birth is purified. Tapasa, by austerities, the body is purified. Ijjaya, by offering the articles in worship, the articles are purified. Shuddhanti danai, the wealth is purified by charity. Santushtya, mind is purified by satisfaction. Atma Vidyaya, the soul is purified by Atma Vidya, the knowledge of Krishna. The knowledge of Supreme Lord purifies the soul. That is very, very important. One can overcome the lamentation and illusion by cultivating the knowledge of Supreme Lord. That is what is described here. And Srila Prabhupada writes, if one has died, one may be affected by lamentation. Just like the classic example is Chitraketu. How much he was lamenting on the death of his son, Harsha Shoka. But Narad Muni, when he came he came along with Angira Rishi and he, by his mystic powers, revived his son. And as a small boy, that child, what did he speak? He speak about the knowledge of soul. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmada parihari arthe natvam shoshitum arhasi. So we have to understand this knowledge is very, very powerful. At the same time, just to understand the human aspect of this, while giving this knowledge, we should be very, very careful. Otherwise, if we are not sensitive in giving this knowledge, that person may not take it in right consciousness. We should be very careful about the right time when to give this knowledge. Prematurely giving instructions may not help people. That is very, very important because many times we give instructions at wrong times. We should consider many things before giving instructions. If we see somebody lamenting, we should first of all sympathize with them, give them solace, and then if the conditions are little conducive, speak about the soul. Because in that situation, many times people need some satisfying, pacifying words. So a devotee is very, very sensitive in speaking these truths. Anudvega karam vakyam satyam priyahitam. The truth should be spoken, but in a very, very considerate and sensitive way. Similarly, when we are seeing faults in somebody and we want to correct them, how should we give feedback? There are a few questions we should ask. Is it the right time to give feedback? Is it the right place? Am I the right person? Is it the right way? These four things are very important to be considered before giving any feedback, giving any rectification. Is it the right time? Just imagine if a devotee, after a program, he is sitting with a plate of prasad and lots of sweets he has taken. At that time, somebody comes and says, "Oh, just see how much you are eating. You have just heard a lecture on, Vacho Vegam and Jiva Vegam, and you are eating so much. Is this the right time to speak? Is it the right place to speak?" He is sitting in the middle of all the devotees, and you are giving such a critical feedback. And are you the right person? And is it the right way? So before giving instructions, many things should be considered. This knowledge is really powerful. Ritsam jnana sinatmanaha, Krishna says this is a sword of knowledge. O Arjun, take this sword of knowledge. Chitvainam samshayam yogam atishto tishta bharata. Get up, O Arjun, and fight with this sword of knowledge. So this knowledge is really powerful. And if we are not careful, we can cut ourselves with this knowledge if we're not using it in the right way. So we have to be really, as a devotee practicing for many years, we should be very, very careful so that we benefit people by this knowledge. If by some insensitive means we are presenting this knowledge at wrong times, in wrong situations, in wrong ways, just like one time, devotees came to Prabhupada and said, "Prabhupada, we are telling all these scientists, we are preaching to scientific community, and we tell them about how the kingdom of Dwarka was so prosperous. It had 16,000 palaces, and Krishna had 10 sons, and every son had an individual teacher. There were crores of people doing, moving in this Dwarka city. And these scientists, they laugh at us." So Prabhupada said, "Of all the things mentioned in Bhagavatam, is this the only thing you found to speak to them?" So be careful. This knowledge is very powerful. But we have to become mature in presenting Krishna consciousness according to time, place, and circumstance. Desha kala vibhagavit. That's the difference between a neophyte devotee and an advanced devotee. This realization, we speak about realization so often. What's the meaning of realization? We talk about realized knowledge. What is the meaning of realization? Anybody would like to share their thoughts? And when we use the word realization, what is realization? Oh, you have realized this. He is a realized devotee.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I'm the servant of Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jivera Swarupai, Nitya Krishna Das. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Any other thoughts? What is called as realization?
So whatever we understood is called the realization. Maybe like I have a misunderstanding of something, and today by hearing the class, I have understood that clearly, or I am able to implement or see in my day-to-day life situation. Maybe like that, something.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Understanding what is the spirit soul, who is Krishna, what is our position, and what is Maya, and that way, that is realization.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. I think it is more of like when you read and you understand it theoretically, but then that same things you've personally felt and have realized the truth that has been spoken in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay, great. Some of the things devotees are putting in chat. Realize means understood and absorbed the knowledge. Okay. Devotees who went through the particular situation. Okay. One is able to apply in my life. Gyan becomes Vigyan. Application. Apply the knowledge in situations. Realizations mean experiencing it personally, which we have learned. Wonderful. Being fully aware of something as a fact, personally convinced of the knowledge. see some reciprocation from the Lord, experience of the truth. Wonderful. Thank you. I would like to show one purport. I hope everybody is able to see this. This is 141 Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada gives a very, very crystal clear understanding of what is realization. So here Prabhupada writes, personal realization does not mean that one should, out of vanity, attempt to show one's own learning by trying to surpass the previous acharyas. He must have full confidence in the previous acharya. At the same time, this is important, at the same time, he must realize the subject matter so nicely that he can present the matter for the particular circumstances in a suitable manner. The original purpose of the text must be maintained. No obscure meaning should be screwed out of it, yet it should be presented in an interest or understanding. This is realization. That is very, very important. When we are presenting the fact according to time, place, circumstance, that's the difference between a neophyte devotee and advanced devotee. You know, can anyone tell me? When Srila Prabhupada went to America and he had to describe about the spiritual world to the people who are just new, all the hippies are coming all into drugs and everything. And Srila Prabhupada wanted to tell what is the spiritual world. How did he explain to them? What did he tell?
Is it that he says if somebody is taken drugs, right, intoxicated, he gets to that kind of a bliss? That is, if the spiritual world is much, much, much more than what you enjoy experience when you're taking drugs. I mean, something related to that, Prabhuji? Sorry. Excuse me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, you are close. You know what exactly Prabhupada said? Spiritual world is an ocean of LSD. So the devotee said, wow, then we want to go there. Because, yes, thank you. Somebody is saying. It is an ocean. That's how Srila Prabhupada could, relate to people there. That is realization. It is not just, it is not that, theoretically I memorize all the shlokas and the purports. Spiritual knowledge means realized knowledge. When we realize, that means we know how to present it. And that realization will come when we apply this in our life. Then dadami buddhi yogam tam tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam. Krishna gives the intelligence how to present this knowledge. Chaitanya Charaprabhu makes a very wonderful statement. Most of the times all the devotees, we want that, we should always be Krishna conscious. But when we are doing our daily activity and when some situations they arrive and we can't remember Krishna. So Prabhuji, Chaitanya Charaprabhu makes a wonderful statement. He says, to the extent Krishna is in the foreground of our consciousness when we are doing the direct activities of Krishna consciousness. I'll repeat. To the extent Krishna is in the foreground of our consciousness, that means how much conscious we are when we are doing direct activities like hearing, chanting, how attentive we are. To that extent, Krishna will be in background of our consciousness when we are doing the indirect activities of Krishna consciousness. Indirect activity means taking care of our house, our children, or doing our job. Krishna will be there in the background. But if we are not attentive about Krishna in our direct activities, then Krishna will not be in the background when we are doing indirect activities. He'll be out of the ground. So this knowledge will become realized knowledge when we are doing our direct activities consciously and we are trying to apply this knowledge in our life. That means trying to remember him exclusively when we are doing our chanting, hearing, and praying to Krishna. That is what describes, that is what determines how much we'll be conscious when we are not doing our direct activities. Otherwise, this illusion and lamentation to give them up is not so easy. Bahujanma Koreyadi Shravana Kirtan Tabutana Pai Prabhu Pade Premadhan. If we are not conscious, if we are not eager, if we are not attentive, then nahi hoga, it will not happen. We may take many lifetimes maybe. Illusions are not so easy to give up. And Bhogaishwarya Prasaktanam Taya Paritchetasam Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Samadhav na Vidhiyate. And to the extent we are attached to sense gratification and opulences of this world, we cannot develop a determination to practice bhakti properly. So our eagerness determines how much we will absorb this knowledge. It's like the eagerness of Pratap Rudra Maharaj. How eager he was. He was a wonderful disciple, a wonderful king. He surrendered to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and said, "Can you please tell me who is this Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? I am hearing about him." Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says he is the Supreme Lord. So Pratap Rudra, hearing this from his spiritual master, he said, "Because you have said this, I have faith in your words. Can you please arrange my meeting with him?" Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, "Now he has gone to South India. Whenever he comes back, I'll try." Mahaprabhu comes back, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, with a very hesitant heart, because he knows Mahaprabhu never meets with any king or materialistic person. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya tells, "O king, I have one request. O Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I have one request. This king, Pratap Rudra, he is your great devotee. He wants to have your darshan. Can you please meet him once?" Mahaprabhu says, "How can you make such a request to Sarvabhauma? You know, I don't meet with any materialistic person. Shukla Vashtre Mashibindu Aichana Lukaya Sanyasira Alpachidra Sarvaloka Gai. People will laugh at me. How will I preach them?" And he says, "If you speak like this again, I'll leave Jagannath Puri. I'll go to Alarnath." Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya becomes really fearful. He goes and tells Pratap Rudra, "Mahaprabhu doesn't want to see you." And now just see the eagerness of Pratap Rudra. He says, "Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatar Jagaya Madhaya Tehu Karila Uddhar." Arre, he has appeared to deliver fallen souls, and he has delivered Jagaya Madhaya also. But you know, Pratap Rudra Chhadi Koriben Jagat Nistar, Ei Pratigya Kori Kori Achen Avatar. It seems Mahaprabhu has appeared in this world with a pratigya, with a vow. I will deliver entire universe, but not Pratap Rudra. So, Pratap Rudra chhadi koriben jagat nistar. Ei pratigya kori koriyachen avatar. But just see the determination of a devotee. Tar pratigya more na dive darshan, more pratigya tara bina chhadi ho jivan. He has taken a vow that he will not give me darshan. I take a vow, if I doesn't get his darshan, I'll give up my life. यदि से महाप्रभु न पाई कृपा धन, किबा राज्य किबा देह सब अकारण. If I don't get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Kripa Dhan, what's the use of my life? What is the use of my kingdom? It is all waste. Sri Prabhupada writes there in the purport, this is called as Dridha Vrata, the determination of a devotee. That is eagerness of a devotee to get mercy of the Lord. Even if the Lord rejects, still I will not give up. That is a devotee's determination. And when the devotee shows such determination, of course, will be tested by the Lord. Mahaprabhu was testing him. Again and again, he was testing Prataprudra Maharaj. On the day of Ratha Yatra, Prataprudra Maharaj is sweeping in front of Ratha. Mahaprabhu, when he sees the humble service attitude of Prataprudra, he agreed, he had already made up his mind to show mercy. And when Mahaprabhu was dancing in Kirtan at one point of time, Mahaprabhu went into ecstasy and he was falling, and none of his associates were around. Prataprudra Maharaj caught Mahaprabhu. And then Mahaprabhu comes back to consciousness and says, Chi Chi Vishaira Sparsha Villamar. Can you imagine? He's a great king. And what Mahaprabhu is saying, Chi Chi, just abominable. I have been touched by a materialist. So Prataprudra is thinking, what is happening here? At that time, Sarvam Bhattacharya tells Prataprudra, Mahaprabhu has purposefully given your mercy. He has allowed you to touch him. But just to set right standards, he's speaking like this. So Mahaprabhu will test us. Krishna will test us. He'll test our determination. He'll test our eagerness. He'll test our loyalty. He'll test our understanding of Siddhanta. It will not happen automatically. It will not happen overnight. We have to be ready for it. So as this verse says, by spiritual knowledge, one can conquer lamentation. By serving devotee, one can become prideless. Chanting purifies the mind, scriptures purify intelligence, and association purifies false ego. Our pride, our arrogance will be destroyed by association of devotees. Devotees can purify us really thoroughly. One time, one devotee was praying to the Lord. He was standing in front of the deities and praying intensely. So other devotee comes and says, Prabhuji, what are you praying? So this devotee says, I'm praying to the Lord that, oh Lord, please purify me of my anarthas. So this devotee, in a joking way, says, अरे उसके लिए भगवान को क्यों परेशान कर रहे हैं? We are there ना. He says, why are you troubling Lord for it? We are there to purify you. Devotees purify us of all the pride, of all the arrogance. Devotees are so powerful. Just by darshan, one is purified. Yesham samsmaranat pumsam sadyo shuddhanti vaigrihat kim punar darshan sparsha pada shauchasanadibhi. Parikshit Maharaj is praying to Shukdev Goswami, just by remembering devotees like you, one gets purified. What to speak of? If somebody gets a chance to have your darshan, touch your lotus feet, wash your lotus feet, that's the power of devotees. Devotees are the best purifiers. Chaitanya Bhagavat describes when the devotees dance, raising their hands, with their hands they purify the sky. With their feet they purify the ground. And when they look around while dancing in Kirtan, they purify the directions. Bahutuli nachite swargira vignanash, hena yasha hena nritya hena toradas. Bahutuli, when the devotees raise hand and dance, the sky is purified. So that's the power of the devotees. They destroy us, destroy our anarthas. How we should be careful in associating with devotees, not offending them, not criticizing them, even if they have some faults. If it is nothing of our business, we should avoid speaking about the faults of devotees. It is so very important because it is so very easy to find faults. It is doshanidhi, kalera doshanidhi. It is not a big thing to find fault in a devotee. It requires a big person to find good things in a devotee. In ninth canto, the story comes of Bhagirath trying to bring Ganga. He wanted to purify his ancestors. Intense tapasya he does. Ganga Devi appears in front of him and she says, I can come on this earth, but there are two problems. When I fall down from heaven, who will sustain the force of my current? And second problem is, when I come here, people will come take bath in me, they'll dump all their sins in me, who will purify me? So Bhagirath says that is not a problem. Lord Shiva will hold your force. And regarding your second problem, that is not a problem at all. Who will purify you? Sadhava Nyasina Shanta. The great devotees of the Lord who are peaceful. Brahmishtha Lokapavana. Agham Dhanvanti. Haranti Agham Tyanga Papa. Teshu Aste Aghabid Hari. He says, the devotees of the Lord, they are Sadhava, Nyasina, Shanta. They are detached. They are peaceful. Brahmishtha. They are focused in Brahman, Supreme Lord. Lokapavana, they are purifiers of entire world. They will purify you by their touch. Then who will purify them? Teshu asthe aghabhid hari. Hare aghabhid, the purifier of sins. Krishna is there in the heart of these devotees. The Lord will purify them. So that is the power of devotees. Devotees purify us of our sinful activities, sinful desires. If only we have that consciousness. And devotees travel to show mercy. One time, Shrutakirti Prabhu was just telling this. One time Prabhupada said, so is the devotee simple or crooked? So who will say, oh, devotee is crooked? Prabhupada said, so the one disciple said, oh, Prabhupada, the devotee is simple. Prabhupada said, are you sure devotee is simple? Disciple said, yes, Prabhupada, devotee is simple. Prabhupada said, no, devotee is crooked. Just like me, Prabhupada said. I come here and tricked all of you. I have come and tricked all of you into Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada has tricked all of us in Krishna consciousness, purified us of our anarthas, of our conditionings. So many ways devotees, they plan to trick conditioned souls just so that they can become purified. As Prabhupada writes, great souls cheat for the great cause, and we cheat for small, small things. When the great souls cheat, they cheat for the great cause. So that is the power of a devotee of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada, what he did, nobody has done. He's mentioned in scriptures. I'll end with this conversation which comes in Brahma Vaivarta Purana. In Goloka Arohana Parva, there's a conversation between Ganga Devi and Lord Krishna. At the end of Dwapar Yuga, when Krishna, he has done all his pastimes, he's about to leave the world, back to his Goloka Vrindavan, Ganga Devi comes and she's speaking something. He Natha Ramana Sreshta Yasi Golokamuttamam Asmakam cha Gatischatra Bhavishyati Kalo Yuge. He Natha, He Ramana Sreshta, O Supreme Enjoyer, Yasi Golokam Uttamam, you are going to Goloka. What will happen to me? What will happen to me in Kali Yuga? People will come, they'll take bath in me, and they'll dump all their sins in me. How will I get purified? Lord Krishna says, don't worry. Kalai kalau pancha sahasrani tishtati tava bhutale papani papino yani tubhyam dasyanti snanataha. You stay in Kali Yuga for 5,000 years, and all the people will come, they'll take bath in you, they'll dump their sins in you. You know who will purify you? Mama mantra upasak sparshat bhasmi bhutani takshanat bhavishyanti darshana chasnana devahi janvi. My mantra upasak will come. He will bring devotees from all over the world. They will take bath in you, they will purify you. Who is that mantra upasak? That was Srila Prabhupada, who purified everyone. That's the power of a great devotee. So this verse says the devotees, they purify us. By serving these great devotees, one becomes free from pride. Gangara parasha hoile paschate pavan darshane pavitra karo veto maravan. Taking bath in Ganga, many times one gets purified. Darshane, just by having darshan of the devotees, just by serving the devotees, one gets purified. That's the power of a devotee. And this verse says, one simply by stopping sense gratification, one can overcome envy. How will this happen? Why one becomes envious? Because one sees that this person has more avenues for sense gratification than me. So the more we give up sense gratification, the whole purpose of becoming envy is lost. And the devotee, he is interested in satisfying Krishna's senses. That is the beginning of spiritual life, not for personal sense gratification. Yayatma suprasidati samsiddhir haritoshanam sabai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaytuki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. The more we serve Krishna, the more we become happy, the more we become purified. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this very, very detailed, wonderful class. Very nicely you took up all the points and from the shloka, and you gave realizing stories in connection with and how Prabhupada has also said many times about the spiritual world. And I think you have already once specified about the self-realization, but still we forgot this purport. Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. And and also the glories of Vaishnavas. It is very, very inspiring. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, with the association of pure devotees, it also depends upon the faith that devotee has, right, Prabhuji? Because they are always purifying, they are always showering mercy, but we should have such faith. Then only it will purify. Then only we can receive that mercy and progress.
It is both. The more faith we have, the more we get purified. And in the beginning, you know, even if a person doesn't have that much faith, if a person is just humble enough to accept the mercy which the great devotee is giving, just like in the case of Narad Muni, Vishwanath Chakravarti, and the small boy Narad Muni in the first canto, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes the various stages of advancement. Now we have heard 9 stages. Shraddha, Sadhu, Sangha, Bhajan, Kriya, Anartha, Nitya, all that. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says there are few stages before the Shraddha. Faith you are talking about. He says, the first thing which these devotees, Bhaktivedantis, they gave is kripa. Yadyapi chakru kripam yadyapi tulya darshana shushrushmane munayo alpa bhashini te mayyapetakkhila chapale arbhake dante dhrita kridanake anuvartini chakru kripam. So they gave their mercy even before this child serving them. So that's the nature of these great devotees. They give mercy indiscriminately to everyone. That is the first thing, Mahat Kripa. And then the next stage is Mahat Seva. So when somebody serve, when the great souls, they give their mercy, then a person who is humble, who is submissive, he starts serving these great souls. And by service to great souls, then comes Shraddha. And the Shraddha which we have increases. And then that's how the loop is. The beginning is the mercy of the devotees. It does not depend on the initial Shraddha. It just depends on some submission to accept whatever is given. And because everybody has some basic level of faith. And depending on that faith, when one accepts this kripa and starts serving the great devotees, then the Shraddha increases. So that's how it works.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, sir. Their mercy is more powerful. Even without faith, it starts. Thank you. Thank you. I request Parima Mataji, you can please ask your question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for this really wonderful class. Dandavad pranams to you. Prabhuji, I have this
Right.
one clarification. When you said that, when the devotees dance with their hands raised, they purify all the directions and the sky and everything. Prabhuji, does that are these devotees pure devotees or all devotees?
Chaitanya Charitamrita describes there are two types of pure devotees. सही भक्त गण होए विविध प्रकार साधक गण आर पार्षद गण आर साधक गण आर. There are two types of pure devotees in this world. Those who are practicing pure devotees and those who are perfected pure devotees. So it depends on the purity of the faith a devotee has. It depends on the intensity of the faith a devotee has. That is purity. We may not be purified of our anarthas. And of course, if somebody thinks, I am dancing to purify the world, that means we are gone. So if devotee never thinks that I am, for that pure devotee who will purify the world. We are always, we should see all the other devotees as advanced devotees. And the concept of pure devotee, it is a very difficult concept to understand. Who is pure? Pure of anarthas or pure in their faith? Purity of anarthas may take lifetimes. But purity of faith, that means I accept Krishna as a Supreme Lord. And I accept holy names of Krishna as not different than the Supreme Lord. I'll not go to any other devta. That is purity of faith. So all of us can practice bhakti in that purity of faith. Purification of anarthas will take a long time. So who is that pure devotee? In the beginning years in Krishna consciousness, one time one reporter was asking Srila Prabhupada, so Swamiji, how many pure devotees you have in this, how many pure devotees are there in this world? So Prabhupada asked Tamal Krishna Maharaj, how many devotees we have in our Krishna movement now? So Tamal Krishna Maharaj says 700, Prabhupada. Prabhupada said there are 700 pure devotees in this world. And many of them, they have just started chanting since last few months. So we should understand that time is separating. The purity of faith is there. Purity from anarthas may take lifetime or lifetimes or maybe few years, depending on our intensity and mercy of the Lord. So that is how we have to understand these principles. Who dances and who purifies the world by their hands, the basic principles are known. But if somebody thinks, oh, I will purify, then there's a problem. That means we have not understood the philosophy at all. A devotee always feels, I am not a devotee at all. Everybody else around me is a devotee. I have so many faults. But that humility should be based on the basic philosophical understanding that I am fallen, but my faith is pure. And I depend on Krishna. So that is the understanding. क्षिप्रम भवति धर्मात्मा अपि चेत् सुदुराचारो भजते मान अन्यभाग साधुरेव समन्तव्य सम्यक व्यवसितो हि सः. Krishna says, if my devotee, even if he does sudurachara, the lowest of the abominable activities, but bhajate mam ananyabhag, he is serving me with undivided attention, he is my pure devotee. Sadhu is samantavya. So that's the Krishna's definition of purity. You may fall down many times, but your faith should be pure. You will depend on Krishna only. Anarthas will take long time to go, but faith should be pure. Dependence is only on Krishna. That is it. That is most important. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Okay, Prabhuji, I mean, can I ask one follow-up question? Or
Hi. Yes.
Prabhuji, you said that, our yeah, humility. On humility, you said that, we should be, a devotee has to have that humility. But Prabhuji, all of us, even if we say that we are fallen, we actually don't have that real humility in ourselves. Like, that we are actually fallen, to feel that way more and more. How to attain that real, genuine humility? Because that actually comes only when you are purified. Rest everything, I feel that we are artificially telling it to ourselves. So what do you say about that?
Yourself I answered, when we'll become completely purified, then only we'll get genuine humility. Until that time, just understand that I am not humble, but I am trying to be humble.
Okay.
Our humility is many times just to be in the devotee community and follow the etiquette. So I am humble. Pure devotee's humility is based on these fact that Krishna is so great, and who am I in front of Krishna? I am nothing. So the pure devotee's humility is based on the fact that Krishna is so powerful, so wonderful, I am insignificant. Humility is not inferiority complex. There's a difference between inferiority complex and humility. Humility means, Chaitanya Prabhu says nice thing. He says, humility means false ego rejected. Inferiority complex means false ego frustrated. So inferiority means I could not do anything, so what to do now? I wanted to do so much. But humility means I'm so small. In front of me, Krishna is supreme, so powerful. So there is no frustration. There is no false ego. I am so big. So that will take a long time. We should not be so much concerned about when will this actual humility comes, because if we understand at one point of time that I have become humble now, that means there's some problem. हे राधे ब्रज देवी के चललिते हे नंद सूनो कुता Rupa Goswami, Sanatana, all the Shad Goswamis are telling we are not able to see Krishna. So our mission is perpetually incomplete only. So that is our mission. A devotee never says, I have achieved Krishna. But just like Madhavendra Puri, he is absorbed in Samadhi and he is experiencing separation from Krishna. And Ramchandra Puri says, oh, then focus on Brahman. Na? So that is a problem. A neophyte person cannot understand the position of a pure devotee. And a pure devotee always feels separation from Krishna. So at our level, what we can do is just focus on chanting attentively, serving devotees to the best of the capacity, and praying intensely. Praying to our Guru Parampara, praying to our spiritual master, praying to Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, our activities of devotional service will become rituals. No, ritually we are doing Guru Puja, attending Guru Puja, attending Bhagavatam. So to the extent we are prayerful, this knowledge will become realized. We'll get mercy of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you for your wonderful answers. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for that question. I request Manjari Leela Mataji, you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for allowing me to ask the question. So my question, Prabhuji, is first of all, I just wanted to appreciate you had, so many different great points and wonderful class as always. My question, I have two questions, actually. So they're like part of the main question, I guess. So one question is, you mentioned the realization, what self-realization meant according to Srila Prabhupada and, from the Bhagavatam purport in Canto 1. So, and how someone preaches according to time, place, and circumstance, basically. In that respect, when what are some like practical pointers that you can provide because sometimes we don't know our audience every time, right? Sometimes we are given some class in general audience and we don't know who's at what level at that point. So in that instance, Prabhupada knew about these hippies that they were attracted with LSDs and drugs and whatnot. But in our case, sometimes we don't know what everyone has or what everyone's attracted to. So in those cases, like what are some general practical pointers that we can, talk about? And second is in line with this too. There are some devotees who are, believers of like Durga Ma or Shivais, or not Shivais, Lord Shiva. So these people who believe in demigods strongly, right? And then how do we not hurt their faith when we're going through Bhagavad Gita with them, where we say that demigods punya is it's temporary, the benefits are temporary, all these kinds of things, without hurting their faith. How do you practically help them come to understanding that Krishna is the supreme?
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So regarding the first question, if we are not aware of the audience level of understanding in spirituality, we should just stick to the basic principles mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. That's how Srila Prabhupada started with. We are not this body, we are soul. And if you see in most of the classes, Srila Prabhupada doesn't go to any esoteric concepts of devotional service. Most of the times he keeps smashing and hammering the basic concepts that this material world is miserable, and how we are not this body, we are soul, how we are really cheated by material energy. So if you just hear the lecture of Srila Prabhupada, you will understand how to present this philosophy to anyone. Prabhupada was expert in presenting this philosophy to anyone. He would speak to simple people, he would speak to drug addicts, he would speak to college professors, and he would go to interfaith conferences also. And everywhere he would speak according to the level of the audience. But the basic principle was always there. He would focus on, you're not this body, you're
Body,
soul.
soul.
We are of God. And the principles of peace in the world. How one can be peaceful. So these principles, they are common anywhere and everywhere. And the more we become expert in presenting this philosophy, Krishna will give the intelligence what to speak so that this person will get connected.
Okay.
So many times it is not just you know the preparation we have done. It is depending on the surrender and the amount of dependence we have on the Lord.
Yeah.
So many devotees, they practice this when, before going for a class or presenting any topic, going and praying to the deities. That, oh my Lord, I am now going. So please empower my speech so that I can bring them closer to your lotus feet. Just like Brahmaji, he is praying. भूतैर्महद्भिर्य इमा पुरो विभो निर्मायशेते this is Shukdev Goswami praying, sorry. निर्मायशेते यदमूषु पूरुष भुङ्क्ते स्वयं षोडशात्मकं सोलं प्रसिष्टा भगवान् वचांसि मे. In this verse, Shukdev Goswami is saying, in the beginning you gave knowledge to Brahmaji. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. You decorated the words of Brahmaji. You empowered him. Please empower my words also. Please empower my speech also. So Alankrasishta Bhagavan Vachamsi me. Please ornament my speech so that I can do this service properly. So this is very important. Preparation and then prayers. It is not just a material presentation we are making when we are speaking to people. Ultimately, it is Krishna who is in the heart of that person as Paramatma. He will tell that person, please listen to this person, he's speaking nicely. So it is not a material thing which we are doing. And to the extent we are prayerful, to that extent, we will touch people's heart. Krishna in their heart will inspire them. So that is important. The preparation is important, but being prayerful and depending on the Lord is most important. So that is there. And what was the second question?
Second question is basically, how do we preach to people who are believers of demigods without hurting their faith from Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah. So basically, we should never hurt their sentiments saying that, oh, these people, these devatas are good for nothing. In the beginning days, many devotees, they would really, insult devatas. Oh, they are good for nothing, as if it is as if devatas are like us ordinary sweepers in the street. But they are also devotees of the Lord. They are also very, very powerful administrators. Krishna has given them this position. We have to respect them. We can just tell in a very, very simple way how these devatas, they are cosmic administrators of the universe. Sometimes you have to use some words which look good. If we say nowadays, many devotees, they refrain from using the word demigods. It looks a little offensive for new people. Some people say, oh, demigods. So rather than, just beginning with a very strong word, we can just glorify the devatas for their position. They are cosmic administrators of the universe. They are very powerful beings. And if you find that this person is really into devata worship, then we can just tell them, add Krishna in your life also. We don't have to speak all the strong words, kama istaiste ritaggyana prapadyantanya devata. Those whose intelligence are they have lost, they have lost their intelligence. They worship the devatas. We don't have to speak all these things. We have to be very sensitive in presenting.
Right.
And in some places, because of our insensitive way of presenting Krishna consciousness, the Hindu community, they have become against ISKCON. So we are not there to alienate ourselves, and we are not there to show that we are the best and you are good for nothing. So we have to build bridges by our preaching. We don't have to burn the bridges.
Right.
Ultimately, we want them to come to our side. Otherwise, if we are speaking in a wrong way, they will not come to our side.
Right.
And they will give up their practice also. Sensitively to deal with people, not criticizing devtas, respecting them for what they are doing. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Prabhu, there is one more hand raise. Would you have time, Prabhuji?
Yes, last question will take this.
Yes, Prabhu. Radha Damodar Prabhuji, you can please ask your question.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class. So, Prabhuji, you mentioned about the verse 12.1 Prabhupada translation and versus Vishwanath Chakravarti verse translation. So there is a difference in both versions. So which one we should be considering more? Meaning, so in this one, it's talking about impersonal Brahman versus you mentioned about soul. So which one we should be focusing on? Thank you.
Both are right. It is not that one is wrong and what is right. If you see the first chapter, 10th verse, Bhagavad Gita, Aparyaptam tasmakam balam bhima virakshitam balam bhishma virakshitam paryaptam tudam etesham balam bhima virakshitam. So, Srila Prabhupada, how he translates, our strength is unlimited because we are protected by Bhishma. Duryodhana is speaking. And their strength is limited because they are protected by Bhima. That is what Srila Prabhupada writes. And Prabhupada has he has taken from Baldev Vidyabhushan. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives completely opposite understanding. He says, what Duryodhana is saying, our strength is aparyapta. Aparyapta, one meaning is unlimited, and aparyapta means not sufficient. So Duryodhana is saying our strength is insufficient because we are protected by Bhishma, and he has already taken a vow that I'll not kill 5 Pandavas. And their strength is paryapta, sufficient, because they are protected by Bhima. And Bhima has taken a vow that I'll kill all the 100 sons. So that's how the Acharyas, they differ. Baladev Vidyabhushan and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Baladev Vidyabhushan is a disciple of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So disciple and guru, they are giving different commentaries. So we cannot say one is right, one is wrong. Their mood is different. And both are right. So we have to understand, and we should have this broad vision to accept all these commentaries. The basic thing will never change. None of the Acharya will say that we should not worship Krishna, worship Durga, worship Shiva. The rasa will change, the way of presenting may change, but the basic principles will never change. Worship Krishna. Bhakti is the supreme. That will always remain. Otherwise, everybody is individual. Acharyas have their individual way of presenting things. So that varies. So we should understand what other acharyas say, and we should always tell what Srila Prabhupada says. There's no controversy in that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you
Hare
so
Krishna.
much, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have one question you can answer next time also. Can you please explain what is service? For example, even we are chanting, that is also service. Um, remembering Lord is also service. Doing some offering is also service. So, can you please tell when a devotee feels that yes, this is right, what I am doing is a service and it is uh, in the right path and it is in right proportion or quantity.
Whatever our authorities, whatever our acharyas, they expect us to do at that moment, we should do that. That is seva. If the acharyas, our seniors tell us now we should chant more, oh, now you've chanted your 16 rounds, now services are waiting, other things have to be done. That is seva. So always understanding and accepting the authority of the senior superior devotees and working according to their understanding, their desire. That is important. I may have some things which I like to do. We should do that. But if our acharyas, if our teachers, our authorities, they want us to do some different seva, we should not escape from that seva saying that, oh, I want to chant. That will be a disservice. So if the devotees tell us to do something and if we say, no, I want to read whole day, that is Bhagavad Seva. That is not right. Whatever our devotees, of course, there are some things which we like to do. As Gaur Gopal Prabhu, he would tell wonderful things. He says there are some things which we are told to do, some things, some services which we have to do, and some services which we like to do. The services which we are told to do, they purify us. Services which we have to do, just like chanting, reading, they sustain us. And services which we like to do, they nourish us. So we should do all these three. If we are just doing the things which we don't like, then devotional service will become tasteless in due course of time. So we have to do things which we like to do also. But in the name of doing things which we like to do, we should not give up doing what we are told to do because they purify us. So that is very important to have a balance. As the time passes, the things which we like to do, they become more. But we should always be ready to do what we are told to do at whatever level we are. We should accept subordination of some superior authority. If he says something, I will do at any point of time. Otherwise, how will we develop this feeling of surrender? If you are always doing what we like to do, then there is no surrender in that. So that is important. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. We'll pay obeisances to Prabhuji and all Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo ananta koti Vaishnav vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. His Grace Gaur Vilas Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you
Jai.
everybody. Thank you so much for your
Such
time
an
and
amazing class,
association.
Prabhuji.